demonstrate how to do your cross-media communications poster. First thing you want to do after you log on the computer is double click on the graphic arts server. Go under students, under your period, under your name. This is still under chapter 1 and you want to make a new folder. Either right clicking or going over here under the cogwheel. And you want to call this Cross Media Poster. You should save all your artwork, all your downloads, all your images under this folder. Or if you do not save your artwork, then you will not have links. And when you go to save it as a PDF or print it from another machine, it will not show up. So if it's in your downloads folder, make sure you move it to your Cross Media Poster folder on the server. Okay, so my first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the internet. Go under course, under Schoology, under the course, and it's under Unit 1. This one is under Learning Assignments Complete. This is your last one to complete. So Cross Media Communications. You should click on it. You can see the rubric. It's the same rubric pretty much for every assignment you've done in Chapter 1. So you should earn your mastery for this one. So under Chapter 1, you want to download that learning assignment. And once it's in the downloads folder, I just drag it into my cross media folder. So Chapter 1, Assignment 4. That way when I fill out the questions, it's in there. And then I don't have to worry about somebody saving over it. Okay. Then you're going to go onto the internet. I'm going to go to Google. And then after you answer all the questions, you're going to find artwork to go with each one. So you have what is cross media communications. So if you're going to look for information under Google, I'm going to do cross media communications and hit return. Also go under settings to the advanced search and make sure it is free to use, share, or modify. Actually, you don't even need the modify, but free to use or share. How's that? And advanced search. Look at images. And let's see if we can find what we're looking for. So cross-media communications is basically communicating through several different mediums, print, web, and mobile. Another way to put it is cross-media marketing. So when you put it in there, you'll see some images. You want to find one that speaks to you and sounds good. And let's see what this one looks like. So that goes all on video, but it does not go through, or all on social media. It doesn't go through all the different ones, which is e-commerce, Google, advertise, affiliate. Okay, that's another one. That's not too bad. So I like to find ones that show several different ways to market: print, web, mobile. So since it's marketing, I'm doing cross media, print, web, mobile. See if I find something better I like to use. And it's looking like there's a whole bunch of different things, but I'm not seeing anything that jumps out at me that I want to use. Alright, I'm going back to cross media. So there's online promotions. I think when I did mine, I looked under settings. I did the full settings for advanced search. That's probably why I'm not finding it. There we go. Okay. Once you find something that's print, the image that you would like. You want to click on it, and you're going to download it or drag it into your folder. So if I click on it, find the image that I like, I'm going to just drag it into your folder. Now I suggest trying to find a high-res image. When you look at an image in the lower left-hand corner, it tells you how much the resolution is. You want to make sure it's definitely 500 over 500. Anything less than 500 will probably be blurry onto your poster, so just keep that in mind. Next, I'm going to do 3D printing. Find an image. Now, some of these show 3D printers, which is fine. If you click on one, find one that you like, drag it into your folder. And you might want to label these so you know what they are. So this is 3D, so I'm going to call it 3D. This one is CrossMedia. Alright, next one I need to do I think is nanography, inkjet production, or production inkjet, augmented reality. So you want to go through and find all of your images that you're going to use for your poster. Then you should have information filled in here from the reading or the Prezi presentation. And that way you can just copy and paste it into your poster. Again, we're using Adobe Illustrator, so you want to open up Adobe Illustrator. If this screen doesn't come up, you go under File, New, and you're going to create a new poster. The poster dimensions are 18 by 24. That is a typical dimension for a poster. So when I open up the new document, I go under Print, change the measurement size to inches, and then I can change it. You can either do landscape or portrait. I think for this one I'm going to do portrait. And actually I'm going to switch to landscape. So 24 inches wide by 18 inches high, and create. And if you count up, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 items that you have to have on your poster. The key thing is all these items are under cross-media communication. So when you first open up, you want to make sure you get your rulers showing. So rulers is Apple R or Command R on the keyboard. And you want to drag your guides down 2 little clicks. That's about 1/4 inch. 2 little clicks in from each side. So on top ruler, you drag it down 2 from the bottom and top. And on the left-hand side, 2 clicks from the right or left. That's 1/4 inch margin. Then you can also make a background for your image. I'm using the rectangle tool. I'm going to draw a rectangle inside the margins. I want the stroke to be nothing. I don't need it outlined. But the fill, you can either choose a solid color, gradient, pattern. It is your call. I'm going to open the swatches palette. So if you go under Windows to Swatches, it opens up, and on the lower left is the swatch library. And I'm going to look for, I think what I want to do is a gradient. And I'm going to do like a radial gradient from the center. I just have to figure out which one I want. So I'm going to scroll through until I find one that looks pretty cool. Alright, we're just going to do a nice yellow. Whoop, I had the stroke selected, not the fill. So I'm going to make stroke nothing, and then I'm going to click on the fill and put the fill in. Alright. And then you can use other tools. If you hold on any of the tools and they have an arrow in the lower right, you click on it and hold it down, and it shows you other tool options. So for this one, I'm going to do a circle in the center. So I'm going to hold the Option key as I make a circle. And I'm going to put it right in the center. It should snap there. If it doesn't, then you can line it up with your ruler guides. I want the fill on this one. I think I'm going to do white with a black stroke. And then I'm going to just type in cross-media communications. So you want this to be a headline typeface, so you want it nice and big and bold and readable. So it needs to be over 24 point, and you may change your typeface to whatever you would like, as long as you can read it. I centered mine. I did my centering format up here. Changed my typeface, and then made it nice and large. Try not to touch the type to the edge or the borders. It's just a nice design feature you want to keep in mind. And then for the rest of it, I will click here, and that's going to be the definition goes here. Now that you can do a little smaller. Keep in mind it should be a quick definition. We'll go through basically saying cross-media marketing is marketing over different mediums, communicating over different mediums like mobile, web, and whatever. And then you can show your image below. So to get your image in here, if it was from a photo, you can go under File and Place. So I can go File, Place, wait for it to open up. Under my folder, I should have the information, click on it, and place it in there. Look, it even says cross media on it. And click. To scale it, you want to always scale it proportionally, so hold the Shift key as you scale it, and then put it where you need it to go. Now before I go on, I'm going to save this. So you always want to make sure you're saving it in your folder. So I'm going to go File, Save As, and I'm going to call it Cross Media Poster, and then put my initials on it so nobody can save over it. Make sure I'm in my folder, Mrs. Roberts folder. Put initials and always leave the extension .ai so it knows that that's the program to open it up. Alright, now I highly suggest for this next step, if you're going to stick with making it consistent, that you use your selection tool, which is the hollow arrow, hold the Shift key. So now I've got cross media selected, the definition selected, and I'm going to get the circle selected. Then I can hold the Option key, and you see I get a double arrow, drag it to where I want. So I need 4 of these on each side. So if I click there and hold the Shift key, it should be able to scale it down so I can put 4 around it. So I'm going to hold the Option key again. I like that size. Hold the Option key again and drag it to where I want. Now you can change it afterwards, but I like making things look consistent. I like symmetry. There's different ways to design. And if you see how that little red line comes, that means it's lining up with the other one. Now that might be too close together. So I'm going to hold the Shift key and move this one just a little bit. Okay. So I've got my... Whoop. Okay, so I keep clicking the background locks. So I'm going to do Apple II, which locks it, or go under Object, Lock Selection. And that way I can drag this over and move it to where I want. So if it's not grouped, you can move it over by just drawing like a box around it with the selection tool. Make sure you get everything in the box. So I'm just spacing it out, making it look more consistent. Doing it by eye, but you can also measure it and do that. Alright, so my different ones that I'm going to put on here. Same thing that's on your sheet. You need 3D printing. So 3D printing. Now you can keep it all in caps for the headline. Well, this one would be a sub-headline because it's a little smaller than the main headline that we have down here for cross media. So I got 3D printing is one, nanography, and then production inkjet, and then we've got quick response code or QR code. And I'm just going to put in parentheses QR so people know what that is. Okay, that one came a little too small, so I might have to move it down a little bit more so we don't have it going over the line. So that's how you fix it. And then if you need to squish it, which is scaling it, I just kind of made it condensed. Alright, so we got augmented reality, or AR, is next. And this way you have your typeface consistent in formatting and size. This is variable data printing. I think variable data driven print. Okay, that was it. And like I said, you never want the typeface to touch the edge, so you can always move it down. You can also move it to the bottom if you'd like, if you think that looks better. This one I might put on 3 lines just to get it to go closer to the top. Alright, and the last two, last one is cloud-based computing. I thought I had 8. Oh, that's right, the middle one. Okay, so I've got an extra one, so I can get rid of that, and then I can make the circles go around it and look better. Cloud-based computing. So I'm going to move the type down, holding the shift key. That means I can spread these out. So 1, 2. So you can spread it out where you want it to go. I didn't need the definition to go twice. We'll get rid of that one. You want to put a brief definition in there. You don't want it to be too much, okay? Because with the poster, you want it to be quick glance, where people look at it, see the information, and they understand what's going on. Then you just put your images in there that you're going to use. So file, place. You do have to get photos for this. You're not going to find this on School's Clip Art. So for 3D printing, I print on one, I click. It's a little big, so I hold the shift key and drag it smaller. File, place, or Apple Shift P, nanography. That's a new technology. This really sounds really cool. It's so that people ink does not penetrate into the substrate, and it just sits on top. It's really incredible. Production inkjet. That's kind of like digital printing. Let's see if I have, where's it? Inkjet, there it is. It's going to take the place, I'm guessing, in the near future, once they figure out how to do it, of offset lithography. So it should make the cost of printing be less currently than it is now. Augmented reality. You've seen this before if you've played Pokemon Go. I have a feeling next year I'm going to have to change it to mixed reality. That'll be the next one. You need quick response code. QR. You've probably seen these before. Whoop, that's a big one. So I'm going to hold the shift key, drag it down. You'll actually be making that in here. We're going to put some QR codes on objects we make. So, variable data printing. That's a cool idea that you can use printing to actually go to the person, and it changes not just on print, but they've got now that you can do it in video, so it actually puts their name in there. And then our last one is cloud-based computing. You use it without even realizing it. If you use Google Drive, you are using cloud-based computing. or most of your stuff is saved in the cloud. But where is the cloud? That's the question. All right, once you get all your information in there, you always want to spell check, Apple I. And once you finish spell checking, inkjet spelled right, ignore, nanography, it actually is spelled right if you look on here. Got it spelled right on there. Ignore, so everything's done. Save, and then you're going to print off a small version to the color cube, so file, print. Now once you print, it's huge, so you've got to make sure you scale it down. So down here on the right hand side where it says do not scale, you want to fit the page, print it, and then proofread it again. You want to proofread when you print it out so you know that everything's spelled correctly. And then I'm going to print out a large version to show you. Again, I'm going to have to shrink it down because I'm not printing right to the full size, which is 18 by 24. I'm going to fit it onto 11 by 17 paper for me, but you do not need to do that. Once everything is done and perfect, you want to file, save, and then you want to file, save as. We're going to save everything as a PDF. So where it says format, change it to Adobe PDF. And my suggestion, you should have a folder under your folder that says online portfolio or portfolio, and you want to save it in there. Once you've got your PDF done as a high res, you go back to Schoology. You're going to upload your learning assignment with CrossMedia, assignment 4, and also your poster. Submit each in Schoology, and you should be done with chapter 1. Thank you.